What is up everyone, Clayton here, and today we're here with another video. Today we're here with a new series on my channel actually, that is sort of part of our 1000 Cybers special. This new series is called The Nations of Tamriel. This series is about talking about the different nations of Tamriel, which is the continent that you explore in the Elder Scrolls games, and we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the nations that make up this continent. We'll talk about a brief history of these nations, as well as talking about the people, as well as the geography of the nation. We won't go in too much in depth with the discussion, just because I don't want to confuse people. Because this series is kind of just for people who play Skyrim and don't really have any knowledge about any of the other nations of Tamriel and would like to learn more. So this isn't really for any of you lore buffs, and if any of you lore buffs are here, make sure to tell me I'm wrong in the comments down below, because I probably am wrong. I'm just trying to use my own knowledge as well as some stuff that I've looked up before. So let's go ahead and get started with the first nation that we're going to be discussing. The first nation that we are going to be talking about is Hammerfell. Hammerfell is home to the Redguards, which you can play as in the Elder Scrolls game, especially Skyrim. Hammerfell is located on the west side of Tamriel. It is bordered by High Rock to the north, High Rock the home of the Bretons, Skyrim to the northeast, Skyrim's the homeland of the Nords, and Cyrodiil to the south and southeast, which is the home of the Imperials. It is also bordered to the west by the sea, as well as the Iliac Bay to the northwest. This bay kind of serves as a water border between High Rock and Hammerfell, and has been disputed over for many years because each side kind of claim this bay as their own, because it's really important for trade to have your own port. Hammerfell is one of the biggest countries of Tamriel, or nation of Tamriel, and it's covered mostly by desert. The biggest of the desert is the Alligator Desert. This desert is probably one of the most inhabitable places in Tamriel, probably even worse than the ash fields in Morrowind. Hammerfell does have different geography locations, as well as mountains. One of the mountain ranges is the Dragon Tails Mountains, which make up the border between Skyrim and Hammerfell. This is also the location of New Orsinium. Orsinium is the homeland of the orcs. The old one was destroyed by the combined forces of the Bretons in Hammerfell because they thought the orcs were a problem, so they moved this New Orsinium to the mountain range. Hammerfell does have some pleasant locations besides deserts and mountains. There's grasslands that are located around the coasts and the Cyrodiil border, so there is some areas where most people can live. The Redguards of Hammerfell have kind of grown used to the desert, and they're pretty hardy people. They don't really take shit from anyone, I guess you could say, so I think they're okay living in the desert. The people of Hammerfell, the Redguards, have learned to live in these conditions. The Redguards came from the destroyed city of Yokuda. The Yokudans, which they were called, came over from their nation after it sunk into the sea. There isn't really much information about how the nation sunk into the sea, as far as I can tell. I haven't really found very much. There's some theories about it, but not really anything set in stone. The Redguards are amazing sailors, which is why they were able to sail from their area to the area now known as Hammerfell. But before they came to Hammerfell, Hammerfell was settled before. The Dwemmers had settled here. There was many clans in the area, as well as there were tons of monsters that lived in the desert. The Dwemer did disappear, because as you guys know, after the Battle of Red Mountain, where the Dwemer fought the Dark Elves, or the Dunmer, but they weren't really Dunmer there, they were Chimer, but that's a whole other story we'll talk about some other time. But anyways, after that battle, all the Dwemer disappeared, and there was no more Dwemer cities here. But the first wave of warriors from the Yokudan did show up in Hammerfell. They quickly took over the area from the Bretons and the Imperial people who lived there. The Redguards are known as some of the greatest warriors in all of Tamriel, which is why they were so easily able to take over the lands at Hammerfell, as well as in the future they were able to hold back the Altmer Dominion when they are attacked after the Great War. Hammerfell has been part of many wars between either the Bretons for fighting for lands, as well as the Nords fighting for lands, but they've also been fighting against themselves. There's been many civil wars in Hammerfell between the Clowns and the Forebearers. These are two factions that have been fighting each other for a very long time in Hammerfell. Hammerfell actually joined the Empire because of the Civil War. The two factions were fighting, and the Clowns were close to winning. The Forebearers got help from Tiber Septums, and in turn, the Hammerfell had to give its allegiance to the Empire. So with the backed force of Tiber Septim and the Forebearers. The Forebearers defeated the Crown, and the Crowns, and that's how Hammerfell became part of the Empire. And this lasted until the Fourth era, when the Great War happened. After the Great War between the Altmerry Dominion and the Empire had to kind of surrender and sign the White Gold Concordat. Along with the worship or banishment of worship of Talos, they also gave some Redguard lands to the Altmerry Dominion. Hammerfell took this as kind of a betrayal of the Empire, as well as the Empire was already weak. So the Hammerfell and the Redguards decided to leave the Empire. They left the Empire and it managed to hold off the Dominion on their own, and now we kind of caught up to Skyrim, where the Altmerry Dominion has kind of retreated from Hammerfell. The Hammerfell and Redguards kind of took a beating too. They didn't really win the war against the Dominion. They pretty much just held them off, and they took many casualties themselves. So yeah, that's kind of some of the information about the Hammerfell and the Redguards. I know I didn't really add a bunch in there because I don't really want to confuse people, but I guess I can kind of give you guys sort of a rundown. Anyways, Hammerfell is a area that is located in the western side of Tamriel with tons of desert, and this kind of makes their people pretty tough, being able to live in some of the most inhabitable places in Tamriel. As well as the Redguards are great sailors, as well as great warriors. They're known as some of the greatest warriors in all of Tamriel. They're also known as some of the best, like I said, sailors. They have a very amazing port in Stroth Mackay, which is an island off of Hammerfell. I know I didn't really talk too much about it, but like I said, I just kind of wanted to give you guys an overall feeling of what Hammerfell is. They're very tough people. Like I said, some of the greatest warriors in all of the Tamriel, and they've had a lot of rich history that I didn't really want to get into because I know I'd probably bore you guys. But yeah, that's kind of just some information about them. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you guys did, make sure to leave a like. I'm not really sure I'm going to do for the 1,000 subscribers special yet, but I'll think of something. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and if you guys want me to add more information and make these videos a little bit longer, make sure to leave them down in the comments below, as well as any criticism would be very good for me, I guess you could say. I'd really like to know if you guys enjoy this or not, and criticism is always good, but just make sure you're just not saying, I'm an asshole and I suck. But anything other than that is pretty okay. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this is Clayton, signing out.